We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We continue our study of Panchadasi by Swami Vidyaranya. Today we are going to see the summary of the 9th chapter, which is titled Dhyana Deepa Prakarana. It consists of 158 verses. The central theme of this chapter is that students usually find it difficult to claim that I am Brahman. So in which case, what should the student do? The student should continue Shravanam. He should continue mananaṁ. And he should practice one upāsana or meditation, which is called as dhyanam. And what is that meditation is being highlighted in this chapter. The meditation is to deliberately say, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman. By saying this continuously, the student one day will drop this thought, and whatever remains, he will claim it as Aham Brahma Asmi. So that is what is the essence behind this chapter. Now let us see the details. As I said, this chapter has got 158 verses divided into 7 topics. Vidyaranya has a unique style of presenting this meditation, and he tells us that there are 2 types of wrong ideas which seekers develop. Not only seekers, even in our practical life, we find that sometimes a wrong idea developed in our mind can result in the correct goal. He keeps this principle in mind, and then he says, you meditate on Brahman as yourself, even though it may be wrong in the current circumstances, but you will get the correct goal. So that is being described in verses 1 to 12. What is this wrong idea? What is this second wrong idea? Both are said in the introductory phase. Then he describes what is the student of the second wrong idea and what happens to him when he does thinking on this for a long time. He not only says Aham Brahma Asmi, but he also does an inquiry. One thing we should remember is that without inquiry, self-inquiry, even though you come to these sessions and understand the theoretical part, everybody, all students of Vedanta must do self-inquiry. That is another point which Vidyaranya clearly emphasizes here. Upāsana, which is described as Aham Brahma Asmi upāsana, will lead to liberation, moksha. Moksha means what? You drop the idea that I am this body. Nothing will happen. It's just that it is just a cognitive process. And by a process of repetition, the seeker comes to know what the Guru or Shastra is teaching is not untrue, it is the truth. Then from 74 to 102, there are two names given, Brahma Avritti and some vādi Brahma Avritti. We will see that later on. And then in the conclusion, he says that the second student who repeats this Aham Brahma Asmi, he gets liberated. Now, the first introduction portion is about what are the two ideas and how are these ideas developed in our mind. The right idea means it agrees with the fact. For example, if I say Aham Brahma Asmi, even though today it is a wrong thing for me to say, but then the right thing is it leads me to Brahman. If it is not the goal, if it doesn't lead me to the goal, then it is called brahāha. If not in agreement with the fact, then it is a wrong idea. Very simple. Suppose Brahman really doesn't exist, and I keep on saying Aham Brahma Asmi. Then what it is? Then it is called as brahmaha. Brahmaha means delusion. For example, rope snake is a delusion. So similarly, all wrong ideas which we have are basically nothing but delusions. Continuously, we've been thinking that I am the body, I am the mind. Therefore, we keep on identifying ourselves with the body. The two types of wrong ideas, one is real, another is fake. Now, what is a real wrong idea? For example, you take suppose you take a real rupee and think that it is fake rupee. Or real jewelry, you take it as a fake jewelry. Or a real person, you take it as a fake person. That is one type of wrong idea. In this, what happens? Always a wrong idea is in 3 periods of time. That means in the past, every time you think of that it is always a wrong idea because you are not seeing the truth. And if it is so, then it is not subject to correction. It is permanently wrong. Will never tally even in the future because it is a wrong idea. Now let us look at the other side. The other side is a fake rupee, you take it as real. Then it is a wrong idea. Suppose it's a fake jewelry, you take it as real jewelry. It is a wrong idea. A fake person, you take it as a real person. Wrong idea. So because of the mistake, falsely we have taken the right idea as a wrong idea. It is not permanent. It is temporary. Present wrong idea will tally with the future right idea. Anyway, this may be a little bit confusing, but once you start seeing the examples, then you will find some understanding in these two subject matters. Then he calls what is this real wrong idea and what is the fake wrong idea. He gives them 2 names. One is Visambhadi brahmaha, another is Sambhadi brahmaha. Okay, I will give you some examples, then it will be more clearer. What are the methods to convert a fake wrong idea to a right idea? Normally, suppose we are having a wrong idea, we have to do inquiry. Suppose I am thinking, I mean, a simple case, let's apply to ourselves. Suppose I am thinking that I am the body, but it is a wrong idea. What is the right idea? The right idea is I am Chaitanyam. I am pure consciousness. So in order to correct this, what we need to do? We have to do inquiry. So the 9th chapter, which we are studying now, the main thesis here is that by repetition of an idea, you can convert a wrong idea into a right idea. For example, suppose you repeat Aham Brahma Asmi. Today it may be not correct, but then when you repeat this along with vichara. See, for example, what Vidyaranya wants to tell us is, today, all of us, we don't have a clear understanding of what is Brahman. But by adding that one sentence in our understanding, in our repetitions, this can be a very personal thing. Aham Brahma Asmi, Aham Brahma Asmi it is not brainwashing, because it is a right thing which I am repeating. So what he says is repetition of this brahmaha is along with inquiry. Like, how do you do the inquiry? By studying the Upanishads or by the texts like Panchadasi. Normally, suppose a guru asks you, you have studied Panchadasi, you have studied Bhagavad Gita, you have studied Upanishads. Can you say that you are liberated? There are two types of student. That's what Vidyaranya says. The first student will say, I am convinced and confidently I claim I am liberated. I have understood I am Sakshi. I am Nitya Muktaha. Nitya Muktaha means what? I am ever liberated. That is what is the teaching. But my mind requires refinement. That refinement is required because I have anxiety. I have fear now. See, here that means what? He has got the Shastric knowledge, but he is not able to realize it and say it is Aham Brahma Asmi because of obstacles. What are the obstacles? Fear of the future, anxiety for the future. So this is connected with the status of the mind. It is not connected with the actual liberation. Because why is not connected with liberation? Because consciousness is asangaha. My real nature is what? It cannot be connected to the mind at all. This is a very important point you have to understand, which is expanded beautifully in Mandukya Upanishad. Very, very elaborately, Shankaracharya drills this point. What is the point? The point is consciousness is always unconnected with the mind. Try to understand this fact. Very important in Vedanta. If you want to get moksha or freedom, this particular point you must never forget. On the other hand, if you remember this, what will happen? I am ever free. See how beautifully Vidyaranya structures this particular obstacles for students. I am liberated ever. That is the right idea. It is the knowledge for the student. So in this first case, what does he say? The student is saying what? I am liberated, but I have obstacles. I will, through inquiry, I will clear the obstacles. That is one type of student. What is the second type of student? I love to claim I am liberated. I want to be honest with you. I am not liberated at present. I don't have all the qualities which are described in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arshavam, acharyo, upasanam, all those verses which give the qualities, that means what? I lack sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Therefore, I have got abhayam, sattva, samshuddhihi, all the negative qualities which are mentioned in the 16th chapter, asuri sampat, all that I am having. But what is Bhagavad Gita saying? I am a sthita prajna. The second chapter, 54 to 72, is the mindset of a jnani. So I am saying, I don't have qualifications, which the Bhagavad Gita is, and I can't understand what Bhagavad Gita is talking about, freedom. So I can't be liberated is a wrong idea. I am liberated now is also a wrong idea. But both have got different connotations. These are the verses of the 13th chapter. There are 5 verses which talk about the qualities which all seekers should develop in order to claim Aham Brahma Asmi. See, all these qualities are mentioned. But what the truth is, even if you develop one quality perfectly, other qualities will come to you automatically. Any quality you take and you say, this one I will perfect it. That is the trick which Lord Krishna teaches in the Bhagavad Gita. All these are the qualities. I'm not going through each of them. I just wanted to point out to you all these 5 verses so that you can study them at your own leisure. These are all connected with this chapter. 16th chapter talks about Devi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. Fearlessness, purity of heart, yoga, control of senses. These are all the Devi Sampat. These are all the correct qualities which I should possess. But what do I think in my mind? I don't have any of these qualities. Wrong thinking is the cause of bondage. Right thinking is the cause of freedom. This law you should remember. Right thinking is the cause of freedom. What is the right thinking? Aham Brahma Asmi. What is the meaning of Brahman? Sat Chit Ananda Swarupaha. If I keep on remembering this, then these qualities which are mentioned here as Devi Sampad will come to me. Don't ask me how, but that is what the Shastra is promising. So each one of us has to try this out. In 3 verses, all the Devi Sampad is explained in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. All the qualities, forgiveness, purity, absence of hatred, So these are the qualities Lord Krishna says they belong to a jnani. And who is a jnani? A jnani is a person who has got the steady wisdom. Why do we say steady wisdom? All of us don't have this steady wisdom today. What is the wisdom? Aham Brahma Asmi. A man of steady wisdom, why is he steady? Because he is merged in superconscious state, which is the Thuriam state, Brahman state, Bhuma state, whatever is that state which the Upanishads they describe. From that point of view, how does that person live in this world? That is what is said in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter. A person who has got all the Daivi qualities, how does he live in this world? In the last verse of the second chapter, Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimukhyati Sthitva Vastvalo Mantakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Richati. What he says in the last verse of the second chapter. A very beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. One attains Brahman or oneness with that higher reality. Attaining this, nobody will be deluded in the future. Therefore, what? Your samsara will end. There will be no birth, rebirth again for the individual who has known Aham Brahma Asmi. So, what Vidyaranya says is, claiming today I am liberated is a wrong idea. It is called samvādi brahmaha. But repeating this, even though it is wrong today, I can't claim I am liberated, but he says, repeat it, I am free. So that in the future, my mind will accept this fact whenever it becomes pure. So that error, which I think it is an error today, it becomes knowledge. How does it become knowledge? By sadhana. How to convert this Brahma into knowledge? He says there are two methods. One is continue your shravanam. Shravanam leads to what? Mananaṁ. Mananaṁ means what? Inquiry. In your mind, when you have done enough shravanam, what happens is automatically you will find that your mind keeps on thinking about Vedanta. Before listening, you never thought about Vedanta. You never thought about who am I. But after an optimum level of shravanam, mananaṁ starts, and that is what Vidyaranya says here, that the two disciplines which are required to attain this Brahman nature or claim that Brahman nature, one is vichara, another is upāsana. This is what he is explaining in this whole chapter. I am liberated. If you support it, this is upāsana. Aham Brahma Asmi. You close your eyes for 2 minutes in a day. Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahma Asmi. You keep on meditating for 2 minutes. Not more than 2 minutes. You don't need. The idea is it should settle down in your subconscious mind. When you say it loudly, it is the conscious mind uttering it. But how does this go into your subconscious mind? Vidyaranya in this chapter teaches us that methodology. So the second student is the adhikari. The first student doesn't do any shravanam. So if you tell him you just meditate on brahmasmi, there's no use. But for the second student, because he is an adhikari means what? He is the right student who is doing the inquiry. So inquiry plus upāsana leads to the right knowledge. I repeat again. Inquiry plus upāsana leads to the right knowledge, Aham Brahma Asmi. Whatever I thought was a wrong idea, now after this exercise becomes the right idea. Right idea means what? It has become knowledge for me. What is the knowledge? I am that truth which I thought was a wrong idea before. Now, because of upāsana and inquiry, it becomes the right knowledge. Okay? So, nididhyāsanam and upāsana are both the right disciplines to be followed. What is the process? Repetition of the vritti. What is the vritti? Aham Brahma Asmi vritti. Okay. Then there are some other details given here. You can just go through it if you are interested to know a little bit more about this methodology. And then the last section of 120, the ninth topic is, he says that the adhikari, if he continues this methodology as prescribed in this chapter, he will get liberation. Okay? Mind has got challenges. But claiming Aham Brahma Asmi is still possible even if the mind has got obstacles. The student who follows this methodology prescribed in this chapter understands the fact that in spite of obstacles in my mind, I can still claim Aham Brahma Asmi. Why? Only one reason. Shankaracharya gives it in his Bhashyam. Vidyaranya just borrows it from Shankaracharya's Bhashyams. What is that reason? The nature of consciousness is asanga. Understand this word asanga in Sanskrit. It is a very important word. If you meditate on this nature of consciousness, you are 100% sure you will be free. This is what is described is Yajnavalkya, the Ashtavakara Gita. There is a very beautiful text called Ashtavakara Gita. Even this morning, somebody was asking me about it. Ashtavakara Gita, King Janaka, and there is a teacher, Ashtavakara. He is the teacher, and King Janaka is the student. And there in that, King Janaka tells his guru again and again that I am already liberated. That is my state of mind. I am liberated. But in case my mind goes and thinks differently, it is my mind. It has got, because of past vasanas, the mind may be thinking of something which is not true. Because Atma is asanga. See, when we are asleep, Upanishad tells us that we are with our real nature. What is the nature? My nature is I am Atma. Atma means what? Again, the Upanishad teaches me that Atma means it is Asanga Swarupaha. Asanga Swarupaha means it is unattached always. And it is an eternal truth. You see, I am Brahman means what? I am the consciousness. And it exists all the time. It exists even when I don't experience time. We have seen this in meditation also. Vivek Chudamani meditation, we have seen several verses regarding this. So that completes this chapter. Before I close, I just want to give you the 2-3 examples which Swami Vidyaranya gives in this chapter. Initially, in the first 30 verses, you will find these examples. What are the examples? One example he gives is about this wrong idea and the right idea. Just to clarify what is this wrong idea, how does the error come, and what happens if it is the right idea. To explain this factor, he gives 4 or 5 examples. Number 1, the first example he gives is about, I have not put it in the slide form, but I just want to explain to you as a side point. Suppose there is a lamp and you have seen the gleam of that lamp. If you think it is the gleam of a lamp and you go towards it and you see it is a gleam of lamp, it is a real thing. Suppose you see a gem also shines. But what happens? That light of the gem, you take it as a lamp and then you go towards it. And then you discover a gem. A wrong idea that it is a lamp, but you end up with a gem. This is one example. The second example is, he gives this, suppose you sprinkle Godavari water to purify yourself. By mistake, what do? You think that it is Ganges water and you sprinkle it. Nothing will happen because it is not Ganges water. But suppose you sprinkle Godavari water and then the person says Narayana. Or let me finish this example first. So suppose you actually sprinkle Ganges water, you will be liberated. So the right idea is the example shows that even by mistake, if you think that it is that Ganges water, you will be liberated because your thought is correct. Another example he gives is of Narayana. Suppose a person who is on the deathbed, he just utters Narayana. Now he calls his son, but instead, even though he's calling, because he's calling as Narayana, and anybody on the deathbed, if he calls Narayana at the time of death, he will be liberated. He gets the moksha. These are the examples which he has given to show that even if there is a wrong idea, you can convert that wrong idea into a right knowledge by thinking. These are examples, but like I said, that don't worry about these examples about wrong idea, right idea. The only thing is, what we should remember is that even the central idea in this whole chapter is continue your Shravanam. Shravanam will lead to manana. Inquiry will start. Along with it, if you can support it with Aham Brahma Asmi vritti in your mind, it will help you to realize your ultimate nature. Okay? This is the essence of the 9th chapter. Now, I have already finished the 10th chapter. I'm going to start what is the summary of. So with this, I finished the 9th chapter, which Vidyaranya talks about, which I gave you a gist of it only. Okay? With 157 verses. Those of you who are more interested in this, you can read the verses in Panchadasi book, which I have already mentioned. Ramakrishna Mission has got a book, and with a commentary, it has got all the verses. You can buy the book from the Ramakrishna Mission bookshop, e-book shop, and you can go through it. The study of Panchadasi is very beautiful, but it requires a lot of time. Okay, and these you cannot rush. You cannot rush reading this. You can take 4 or 5 verses in a day, contemplate, again take 4 or 5 verses, and then contemplate, and then see the meanings of them. Next, I want to cover a summary of the last portion of Panchadasi. The last portion of Panchadasi is from chapter 11 to chapter 15. What are the number of verses? You can see it here. Each chapter has got several verses. All of them, they end with Ananda Panchakam. All the chapters deal with what? Happiness. Ananda Panchakam. The first chapter is termed Yoga Ananda with 134 verses. Next is called Atma Ananda. The third is called Advaita Ananda. Fourth is called Vidya Ananda. And the last one is called Vishaya Ananda. I'll just give you a summary of these, and then you will probably pick up a gist of it. Like I did for the 9th chapter, again here, you will get some glimpses of what these 5 chapters they contain. Totally, there are 429 verses. How many verses? 429 verses. Each chapter, how many verses is mentioned here in this chart. I have given you the titles. I have given you how many verses are there in each chapter. That is the first 3 lines of this chart before. Let me go through each chapter, and then I will go through some other extra slides connected with these 429 verses. The 11th chapter is called as Yoga Ananda Prakarana. All these are Ananda Prakarana. See, the first 5 chapters I told you is Sat Pradhana, existence oriented. The next 5 chapters is Deepa Prakarana. Deepa Prakarana means Chit. It's a Deepam. It is giving us the see, Taittiriya Upanishad has got Satchidananda. So Vidyaranya has used the Satchidananda as the central theme for all these 15 chapters. 5 chapters on Sat, 5 chapters on Chit, and then the last 5 chapters is on Ananda. Together they make what is called as Brahman. which happens to be my nature. So when I have to meditate only on these three words. I am of the nature of pure existence, without any objects. First meditation. Second meditation, I am of the nature of Chit. It is not said here by Vidyaranya. I'm telling you, after studying these 15 chapters, how do you take the gist of these 15 chapters? So the second meditation is what? I am of the nature of consciousness, which does not permit any matter in it. This is how Shankaracharya describes in Mandukya Upanishad the nature of consciousness. There is something like this. See, it is a wonder. The study of Veda is a wonder. And what we realize in it is again a wonder, because the content is so divine. Without this study, we can never discover it. You can do anything in the world, but you can't discover this nature. That is why the benefit of this study is you get complete fulfillment, which complete ananda, which cannot be described by words, because there is nothing in this world which can be compared to the Chit aspect of consciousness. And the last portion is ananda, fulfillment. If I, by some stroke of grace of the Lord, if I can realize that before I leave this world, that's what Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani. Try to get this knowledge. Whether you get it or not, don't worry about it, but make an attempt. That is what we are all doing. So this chapter talks about the bliss aspect of Brahman. Shruti, Anubhava, both are used to prove Brahman is Ananda Swarupa. What are the three methods normally we use? Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava. So in the 11th chapter, Shruti and Anubhava is used. In the 12th chapter, Yukti is used to prove Brahman is of the nature of Ananda. Okay, try to see. These are the two chapters. See how beautifully the structure is there. So Vidyaranya quotes Shruti. I'm going a little bit slow because I want you to absorb this well. We will do this analysis this week and next week and complete this Panchadasi, the study of Panchadasi with this 429 verses, the gist of that. So, Brahman is not experiential pleasure, but it is Swarupa Ananda. There is a difference between my nature as consciousness and the Ananda which I get out of that consciousness by claiming that consciousness is totally different. What is the basic difference? The basic difference is this is Nitya Ananda. So are you interested in eternal happiness or not? Of course, of course. See how Vidyaranya attracts you. Brahma Sutra attracts you. Upanishads will attract you because this happens to be your nature. Do you want to know your nature? This is your nature. By knowing this nature, what will happen? I will drop the identification with my body. As me, the body will still continue to perform actions in the world. But you will not say, I am going through this samsara. You will never say, because you have found the blissful Swarupa, the highest in Vedanta, the highest what the scriptures can promise you. Pure happiness is not a part or a product of the mind, but it is the Swarupa. What is the law which is there in Sushupti that is mentioned in the 11th chapter? The law is whatever is the karanam, the effect will always resolve in the cause. Where does the pot resolve? In clay. Where does chain or gold, they resolve into its cause? What is the cause? Gold. Where do all the tables and chairs, where do they resolve? Ultimately in wood. Where does a human being resolve? In Brahman, in this pure Ananda. So in deep sleep state, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, they have got verses which clearly say you are Ananda Swarupaha. Don't think that normally what does the ignorant person thinks? I went to sleep yesterday. That's all. What does the jnani think? See the difference, huh? Very small difference, but then tremendous impact on your mind. What are you thinking? It's a thought. I was in my Swarupa, my nature, my intrinsic nature in the sleep state. In between, you got some horrible dreams. Forget about it. In between, you had some waking dream also. Forget about it. But what is your mind saying? It has got the knowledge. Why the mind can think and hold on to that nishtha? How can the mind hold on to that thought? Aham Brahma Asmi. Because the law has been clearly understood. Veda has been understood. Upanishad Shruti has given us the proof of this Ananda. Ananda in sleep is Brahmananda. That is what is called Yogananda in the 11th chapter. Samadhi Anubhava is also Brahma Ananda. Okay, that is the details of the 11th chapter. Now, what I will do is, okay, let me go through this, continue this. Chapter 12. Chapter 12 is titled Atma Ananda, and here, as I said, logic is given to prove that Brahman is of the nature of bliss. Every jiva is born out of Brahman. I am a jiva, I am a karyam. See, this body-mind complex is karyam. Like chain, bangle is a karyam. Chain and bangle comes out of gold. But this I, the jiva, the mind, the body, all this, what I identify today, it comes from the karanam, which is Brahman. So, what is the essential nature of a chain? Gold. Because I am a karyam, what is my essential nature? Ananda. And who gives this proof, Ananda? The Shruti tells me this. Who tells me I am a jiva born out of this Brahman? Shruti tells me this. Can I accept this logic and say that because using this methodology of karyam resolves into karanam is called as the logic behind Vedanta? It is beautifully explained in Chandogya Upanishad, the 6th chapter. Beautifully explained in Taittiriya Upanishad, 2nd chapter. Karanam, Karyam. Same thing explained in Mandukya chapter. It has got a chapter. The first 6, in the Mandukya, the 6th verse and the 5th verse, they talk about this Karanam and Karyam. All the Upanishads, they talk about Karanam and Karyam. Understand this aspect of Karanam and Karyam, very important if you want to drop samsara. If you want to understand Vedanta correctly, understand this Karanam and Karyam correctly. Okay? Everyone, okay. Then the next point, the 12th chapter makes is that essential nature of all jivas is Brahman. Brahman happens to be blissful. Then how to use this logic of Ananda, how to apply the logic of Ananda. The Vidyaranya says this logic has been used in Taittiriya Upanishad also. In the 2nd chapter, the 8th Anuvaka of Taittiriya Upanishad is an analysis of Ananda. Whatever Shankaracharya says, that Vidyaranya just borrows it and then puts it into this 12th chapter. What does Shankaracharya says there? He says that this is a law. What is a law? The law is everyone loves oneself unconditionally, permanently, eternally. You try to ask yourself this question: do I love myself or not? Everybody will say yes, because you want to live eternally. That eternity belongs to yourself only. You are ready to drop everything in the world because you love yourself. That is unconditional love. You don't put any conditions for the love of your own self. How do I understand this? And it is a permanent love. It is not a yesterday only, 1 week ago I loved myself, but today I don't love myself. No, it's not like that. Right from your birth till date, you love yourself unconditionally. Therefore, the Shruti says, if there is unconditional, eternal love, then only you will have this feeling of happiness in your own self even today. Therefore, Ananda from Atma is eternal. What about the Ananda which I get from the world? If you study Vedanta correctly, you will understand one major flaw in the Ananda. Of course, there are 3 flaws, which you know. One major flaw in the Ananda of the world is, it is limited happiness. For a short period of time, your mind was quiet, and therefore Atma Ananda got reflected in your mind and you felt very happy. Again, the disturbances come in the mind, and the Ananda of what you enjoyed, it is gone. So, What Vishaya Ananda gives is temporary Ananda. Mithya Gauna Ananda. Whatever is temporary is called as Gaunam, incidental. What about the nature of the consciousness? That is eternal Ananda. Very beautiful section. You see, the entire 11 to 15 is a very wonderful section. I encourage all of you to just at least go through them. There are some students who have called me and said that they are going to go through these verses. I encourage them. You will love, because see, realization, there is this Ananda aspect of Brahman is very, very deeply analyzed, mainly in Panchadasi, in this 11 to 15. Nowhere else you will find Ananda. Apart from this, the second text is Taittiriya Upanishad, which I said, which I am taking in my Saturday classes, which I will continue to take probably in the next, either next, this, the coming Saturday, or after in January, when I restart Taittiriya Upanishad, I'll be taking this Ananda Mimamsa. Suppose you have not understood, you can come back to me in January for the Taittiriya Upanishad. It's the same continuation. See, whatever I have said here today on chapter 12 is going to be repeated in Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, 8th section, 8th Anuvaka. And it is a complete analysis of unconditional happiness realized by a jnani. It is equivalent or more better than all the anandas of Manushyas and Devatas. See, the Ananda experienced by Devatas is very high in Swargaloka. But what that Taittiriya Upanishad says is that Ananda which Jnani gets out of this Brahma Ananda is the highest. See, even to hear such words of happiness, it's so blissful for us, because that happens to be the nature of Atma. So I will stop here. I will continue 13, 14, and 15. Next week, I will give you a gist of it. If time permits, I will go through these sections, the slides which are here, which is whatever time permits, I will try to do these portions. Otherwise, you just go through them yourself, and you can probably understand these slides. Okay. Let me see. Whatever we can do, we will try. Okay. With this, I will close today's session. And next week, I also plan to give you, next week, probably I may not have a meditation session because time is limited. So I will skip the meditation session, and I'm going to talk to you about what are the obstacles which are there in meditation. So next week, there will be no meditation practical, but I'm going to talk about the 4 obstacles: Laya, Vikshepa, Kashaya, and Rasaswara. I'm going to describe what are these 4 obstacles next week. I had promised this to the meditation students, but if you're interested, you can also join next week. I will probably stop the class at 7:15 next week, Singapore time, and continue this for about half an hour or so on the obstacles in meditation. And a very interesting area. Unfortunately, I don't have much time to go through these portions. I would love to go through these portions of what are the 5 conditions of the mind. I'll see if there is more interest among the students. I will probably take this maybe next year because time may not be enough. Shipta, Mudatha, Vikshipta, then Ekagrata, Niruddha. These are the 5 conditions of the human mind. It's important to know these conditions because it is our mind's conditions. It is not me, I am the consciousness, but if I am the sakshi of the mind, I will be able to experience these conditions. And experiencing these conditions means taking control of the mind. How to control the mind? Next week, we will try to discuss the obstacles and these 5 conditions. Okay, so I will stop here. I will. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnah Purnamudacchade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so if there are any questions, I've seen in the chat box, there's no questions. If you have any questions, you can ask them. And so next week, we will finish this entire sessions of Wednesdays. And then for those who want to continue, you can continue on Sundays when I start a new Upanishad. Or you can come for Saturday sessions if you're interested in Taittiriya Upanishad. But next week, we will stop our Wednesday sessions. Okay, anybody has a question?
Sekhaji,
बोलो भाई.
असंगा का मीनिंग क्या है? Is it no connection to have no connection, as you were saying, right?
Correct. Asangaha means that really if I come to know that I am Atma, Atma has no connection with the body. Atma is always unconnected with the body. How do I know this? I know this because the Bhagavad Gita tells me that this Atma is ever free from the body. So that is the meaning of Asangaha.
So now the word, as you put a shadow of what is it?
Shadow means, you see, this is a shadow of Atma. This body is a shadow. Like suppose you go to you're walking on the road and your shadow automatically falls on the ground. What Upanishads tell me is that all experiences, whenever I wake up in the morning, it is like a shadow only. Of what? Of Atma. Atma is the original. It is pure. It is without any body, mind, and nothing is there in Atma. Because it is the nature of Paramatma. Okay?
So Atma, in one hand, you have no shadow. On the other hand, do you have shadow? For Atma?
No, Atma doesn't have any shadow. Atma doesn't have the the properties of the body or the mind. Atma is all alone. It is always blissful. So that is why when you say my nature is always blissful. Blissful means it is like God's nature. He is always happy. That is what the Bhagavad Gita teaches me. It is what the Upanishads teach me, that I am always happy. That happens to be my nature. But sometimes what happens to me, my mind starts telling me it starts telling me something about myself. It will tell me that, I'm suffering from some problem in my body. It will tell me that, I have, somebody is not well. It will keep on telling me different things during my day. But actually what Bhagavad Gita tells me, it is only a mind which is throwing thoughts inside your body. It is not true. You are a sakshi. Sakshi means you are a witness of that thought. So, do you know that thought or not? Yes, I know the thought. So, what is in this body which sees that thought, which knows that thought? That seer, that knower, you identify as Atma. Don't take the thought as real, but you take that that pure consciousness is the reality. That pure Atma is me. This is the easiest way to know Atma. What is the easiest way to know Atma? I am Atma, and I, in my presence, this mind is coming up with some thoughts. That's all. If you can realize this small thing, you have understood the whole, whatever Vedanta is teaching you, you have really understood that. See, thoughts will come and go. It will come and go because of some vasana, some impression, something which body has done in the past. It will come with some thoughts, So don't worry about those thoughts. That is a lesson we have to learn.
Okay. So just now, as you were saying, Aham Brahma Asmi,
yes.
Right? So even in spite, I've been doing this for quite some time, but as you say, is something you cannot get rid of from the past karma.
Correct. You see
Right.
that disturbances will keep coming.
Even for the jnani also?
Even for the jnani. You see, jnani, of course, the jnani, what happens to him is, he is able to hold that thought that I am Sakshi all the time. Whenever he wants, he can bring that thought in his mind, and he can forget about the problems.
Oh, he can stop the thought.
Correct.
That means
he can stop that thought which is disturbing.
Because our mind is chanchal, so we're very right?
That's correct. See, your mind and my mind is chanchalam, means it keeps on coming, going, disturbing me,
So in spite of Aham Brahma Asmi, we say also we still have some, some kind of feeling that I'm maybe sick, I'm having this disease, I have.
Correct. That's correct. Now you got the message. Correct.
It's troubling you.
Yes, that's correct. Good, Rao Baba. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shekhar.
Yeah, Jacqueline.
Yes, tapping on what Mr. Brahm just mentioned.
Yeah.
Let's say our teachers, you call Swami, right?
Shankaracharya, correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Swami, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say of course, he is being purified. Does it mean that he will never have bad thoughts in his mind? Or yes, he had, but he make it go away very fast.
Correct. The thing is, you're right. No, even if you are a jnani means you are a wise person. Suppose you have understood whatever I have taught you in Vedanta. What will happen to you is you cannot stop the wrong, you cannot stop the mind throwing up ideas in your mind. You cannot stop it. All the disturbances in your mind will still come. But what is the difference? The difference is you will say, I am the seer of the mind, I am not the mind.
Okay.
That is the difference when you come to attend these classes, these sessions. The one thing which you will take away is, I am the seer of the mind, I am not the mind. The mind will still continue because that is the nature of the body and the mind together in this birth.
Okay. That means no matter who you are, you would have that. But the only difference is because you have because you are at certain consciousness level and it go away faster than anybody layman.
Correct. That's correct. Okay. You're right. You got it. Okay, that's a good question, Jacqueline. Neeta has got one question on the chat box. Why is Vedanta not part of the public school curriculum? See, this Vedanta is a difficult and a very subtle topic. In the school, our mind is not developed. It takes time for the mind to become mature, to understand what is life, what is death. In school, nobody understands what is death. Very difficult. So unless until you have experiences in life, then you become mature to understand what lies beyond life and death. So maturity level of the mind when you are in the school is the main reason why we don't teach this in the Vedanta in the schools. You have to grow, you have to become mature. Even some people, after 70 years also, they are not mature. They are still immature. Immature means what? Taking the body as the self. That is the problem. Unless and until a question comes into your mind, is this, first of all, is there anything which is beyond this body? That is the first question which will come to you. The second question is, where can I get this information about what lies beyond the body? Can I go to some book, some guru, some teacher? So this process takes time. That is why they don't teach Vedanta in the school. Okay? Anybody else has any other question? So next week, there will be no meditation session. We will continue from 6:30 to maybe, I'm talking about Singapore time, 6:30 to say for 1 hour, 45 minutes. I will continue the Panchadasi. I will try to close in 45 minutes, whatever I can give you the gist of the last three chapters. Unfortunately, because the time is limited, maybe I will just do the tree diagram, the 13, 14, 15, and the details I may not be able to complete. So next week, I will cut short the Panchadasi. Would you like to have, okay, my question to you, all of you are meditation students. Would you like to have that thing which I talked about, obstacles in meditation? Would you like that, or you would like me to finish the Panchadasi and then not have that obstacles? Anybody can say what you like.
Secretary, I think you can have a talk on what are the obstacles that we are facing in meditation.
Okay, so I will continue obstacles. Good. Ganesh is also saying obstacles will be good. You are asking Anna whether meditation sessions will continue after Panchadasi. I will see if there is interest in meditation in the Sunday classes, which is the Mandukya classes, because this class is being replaced on Sundays. So on Sundays, if there is enough people who are interested in meditation, then I will continue the meditation. Let's see. We'll see on Sunday classes. So with your input, what I will do is I will take the obstacles of meditation as the main session next week. Next week, I will take maybe for half an hour, I will just take the picture, the tree diagram. I will explain to you for the last 3 chapters. I will not go into the balance rights, and then say around 7, say after about half an hour, 45 minutes, I will spend a little bit more time, about 45 minutes, on the obstacles of meditation. Okay, that seems to be an interest among most of you. So I think it'll be interesting. So we'll finish Panchadasi and then get into this obstacles.
Mr. Shekhar, I have another question.
Yeah, tell me.
About meditation. Okay, for obstacle, yeah, we'll learn about that. But I just have a question. For meditation, it is the life to be quiet, to meditate with the breathing. That's what. Then we sit on silent, like what you have teach us most of the time, or almost all the time. On another note, is that another kind of meditation? Even you do planting, gardening, you walk, you anything that you are happy with. Do you call that as meditation or no? Also, because you are passionate about it. This kind of meditation is like awake. Open up your eyes and work with your hands or whatever. How does that work?
Okay, so what you're asking is, can I meditate with open eyes? Can I meditate with open eyes while working in an office, or while gardening, while this? See, generally, what they say is this is called as absorption. What you are saying is absorption. It is not meditation, but absorption. See, absorption is a form of meditation, but it is not meditation. Meditation is only when you say, Aham, I am the witness. While you're doing gardening, while you're this thing, that is called as absorption. It helps in meditation to come out of, it helps you to purify your mind, but it is not meditation. For example, a painter, you see, a painter is lost in his painting. His mind is lost in the thought of the painting. A scientist, he is lost in the laboratory of analysis of the chemicals and reactions and so on. A mathematician is lost in trying to find a solution for his mathematical problem. You know, a square, b square, you know, all the mathematicians, they go into, you know, into so many, how to solve this riddle, how to solve that riddle. So each one of us has the ability. For example, a child, if it sees an ant, it will go behind the ant, forgetting the rest of the world. It has to eat the food, it forgets. So it will just be one-pointed. All of us have the ability to become absorbed in whatever we are doing. But that is not meditation. It is only to purify your mind, to develop the concentration the focusing ability. Meditation means you have to think about your real nature, which is consciousness, which is happiness. If you think about that, it is called as meditation.
Oh, okay. So I understand right now the distinguish of it, because I read there was one Vietnam, I think Vietnam monk passed away, pretty famous. He has a quote and saying that, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to sit down and do meditation. It means that you walk and you do anything, it is supposed to be meditation. So the way that I understand totally right now is perhaps those is categorized as absorption, but the meditation that from Vedanta is basically Aham Brahma Asmi. That's the nature.
Correct. Yes.
That's the nature, and therefore,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate.
Yeah. Good. Okay, Jacqueline. And if there are no other questions, then I will stop here. We'll continue next week, and we will stop. The next week will be the last session for this year, which is the 13th, next Wednesday. After that, we'll be having the Sunday classes at 7 o'clock Singapore time. Whatever time in your countries you can match up. Thank you. Good night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you very much.
Thank you.